Okay, guys, first of all, Spadia is not just a YouTube channel. We have also digital products, physical products, which are going to help you about everything we talk about in these videos. You can find two links in the descriptions below. And now let's get back to the video you came here to actually watch.
Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today we are going to be discussing nootropics, and it's an awesome topic, guys, because it's not something we delved into too much, but the entire sphere around nootropics has been picking up. I think a lot more people are interested in it than ever before, which I think is awesome. But I think it also needs to be discussed what you guys could expect if you actually want to try them. Of course, there are many different types of nootropics themselves, but in terms of your expectations and how much of an improvement, let's say, you could get from that and why you would want to use it, we need to, I think, discuss it in this video. Now, what the hell are nootropics, or how would they actually work? They are different in the sense, I would just say this to you, they aren't directly putting things into your body which increase dopamine. You are basically not increasing the dopamine, for example, in your own brain, or you aren't inexplicitly raising the levels of some hormones just because from that particular nootropic. But what nootropic does is that it helps you to utilize and use more of what you already have in your system. So it isn't like taking SSRIs, for example, or just destroy your dopamine levels by making them too high. What I mean by that is many times some drugs, especially from the more conventional ones, from pharmaceutical companies, for example, the issues with those is that if you have some, for example, some kind of issues, mental health issues, or for example, improve your mood. So for example, it would be in the case that they would prescribe you with something that would raise your dopamine level or anything else. The issue with that is that this increase is many times too big, and it will affect your entire life and not just, for example, the mental health issue or even depression that you would have. But many times these things actually go badly for many people, but there are many drawbacks behind using them. Now, nootropics, on the other hand, are basically helping you to utilize more of what you already have in your system, which is amazing for you because it's not like you are dumping things that are spiking up your dopamine in your head or any other chemical, but it allows you to, for example, with tongkat, there are even Fedosia agrestis, but we won't focus on that in this video. But many of those which just basically help you to elevate your levels of what you want out of those nootropics, and they will basically help you to do that without necessarily having as many side effects as you would have seen for many of the other drugs. I mean, I know, for example, there are many things which are being used on college campuses at this point, drugs which raise your adrenaline, often ability to focus. Well, the issue with those things that people or students use at this point, even at work, is that many times they do more bad than good for your health overall. But nootropics, on the other hand, will help you to already utilize what you have in yourself, just more efficiently and better based on how it works. Now, we need to discuss that they do work, but one caveat is that it isn't as beneficial to do just them because of the thing I've mentioned, that they don't have as potent ability to make changes inside of your own head. For example, compared to SSRIs, we wouldn't be able to see as much of a change in terms of some levels of whatever you want, for example, dopamine in this case with nootropics, but they will help you to instead have an elevated rise in those levels. Similarly, it could be even said about testosterone. If you like to even jump, for example, on TRT or use steroids for whatever reason, it could be health related, it could be for many, especially young men, it'll be related to gym. Well, on the other hand, if you use those, there are many cases where people do have long-term health issues, and it's not just talking about it in a way that 1 out of 100, but you may never know who you are in this, let's say, more of lottery pick, if you will have some long-term health consequences or not, especially in terms of steroid use, especially if you're young. But nootropics, on the other hand, are very helpful to get you up and running, to have elevated rise which we've talked about many times in the previous videos, why that's beneficial. So you have more of an elevated and gradual rise in anything you want, for example, testosterone, dopamine, or any other particular chemicals inside of your own body, instead of having these huge spikes and downs. Because, for example, steroids will just basically increase your testosterone up to the point where you won't even produce your own testosterone, or it will be greatly diminished. So this is especially why I think it's dangerous, and there isn't yet the science to confirm 100% how bad is it for many people, since the use of steroids isn't that old. So many people haven't even reached the ages of 80, 90 and above, where they would have been considered a heavy steroids user, or people who have been prescribed some drugs based from the pharmaceutical companies, which they would have taken for quite a long time. And we haven't yet been able to see many people who had been on those drugs for a long time, because they are relatively new. But I think we are already seeing pretty good data that they aren't the best to use. And nootropics may be something to help you, especially related to testosterone levels, if you have issues with focus or even motivation on that end, with dopamine as well. Now, there's one huge thing that before you would like to take nootropics, or if you are already taking them, that you need to factor in, is that because they are not as potent, you also need to realize that the benefit that you will get from them is minuscule compared to what you could do for yourself already. And these are the things we've already discussed many times, so I think this could be a list of making sure that you have an adequate sleep, you have adequate nutrition, which is regular more or less, and you are able to also get outside to have regular sun exposure, especially in the mornings, which is very important for your circadian rhythm. So basically be on time each day, to have the same schedule, which is very important for your entire body, as every cell inside of your own body runs on a clock. And these are the things that will help you at about 90 to 95% in my opinion. We don't know the exact percentages, but based on the experience I've seen, these are very important. And then the nootropics can help you to get that additional 5 to 10% of improvement in terms of focus, in terms of testosterone levels, in terms of anything else you would want. And some people are much better with nootropics than others. It will always depend on who you are, but I think general consensus is that they are very helpful. Of course, you need to test it. Even some people had not just 10% increase in some things when they started to take them. For example, with the combination of the two I've mentioned, is with the combination of tongkat and ashwaganda especially, some people have been able to raise their testosterone levels by about 100%. So it will be about 300 to 600 of the total testosterone per deciliter. So those will be huge changes, but we still need to say that if that person, for example, didn't have an adequate sleep, didn't have proper nutrition, which will be more or less at the similar times each day, and also didn't have sunlight exposure in the mornings, if that person is missing out on those things, the increase would be even larger, and I would say much larger if that person started to do those things as well. So this is especially will be helpful for you to think about nootropics as something to add on to your life when you are already doing other things correct, because if you have them, it might also mask some of the deficiencies if you aren't doing properly any of the other things. But if you are able to get first your own life in order, in terms of all these things we've mentioned, there are of course many other, but those three are the most important for yourself. In that case, nootropics is an amazing thing to add on, and you will see focus, motivation, and even performance that you've never seen before in yourself, and you'll be amazed at the results at that case. Now, obviously, for many people, nootropics won't be something they can do, because I do think they are more expensive compared to just taking one supplement. For example, creatine on that end would be much cheaper. So nootropics basically aren't an option for many people. So I think this is also an amazing news for you guys, because it doesn't mean that you are missing out on something huge. If we are talking about this 5 to 10% of improvement, you can still get your entire life in order and basically just smash it just with your own behaviors, habits, and changes. So hopefully this is pretty much a good wrap up for nootropics. Of course, if you have any questions, you can also leave us down with a comment below. And thank you so much, guys. Bye.